bonds or whatever it is that government entities have out there because of foreclosures, failures, that sort of thing. And so what is before you are proposed amendments. And one of the things that we talked about was the term bond versus letter of credit. And going back to Webster's dictionary, even though bond is often associated with a particular lending or particular surety, it is actually a generic term. And so we opted to keep the term bond and then just clarify that we accept letters of credit and escrow accounts only. Before, we used to accept actual bonds, letters of credit, escrow accounts, and checks. But because we don't take checks anymore, that actually costs the town more money because there are certain interest rates we have to pay whether we get them or not, and it's kind of weird. Plus we have to set up separate accounts and some other things. So it's just from a bookkeeping standpoint, the letters of credit and the escrow accounts are much cleaner, and we have found those to be much more of a protection for the town, because that's what really this is all about, is a protection for the town. The process for cashing the bonds is there's two different, we have our 2-year maintenance bond, which by nature would be 2 years. And that is, once everything is accepted, we require that a bond, or once everything is completed, not accepted, once everything is completed, that a 2-year maintenance bond is posted with the town. And then at the end of that 2 years, if there are no failures, we release that bond or that obligation. And what this establishes is that if at the end of 2 years there is a problem in some aspect of the infrastructure that the town is supposed to be taking over, the staff would have the authority to extend the maintenance bond for a period of not to exceed 1 year. So that would be, then a total of the bond would be in effect for 3 years. At the end of that 1-year period, if the deficiencies have not been repaired, the staff will cash the maintenance bond. This spells out that they then have the authority or the right to appeal to the Planning Commission that cashing. And then you as a Planning Commission would have the authority to extend it for up to 1 year. So that would be a total of 4 years. At the end of the 4 years, we shall cash the bond. The reason we don't want to go farther out than 4 years is because at the end of 4 years, chances are that bond amount may not cover anymore what it was initially established to cover. And they also don't want to put up a lot higher dollar values just for the what-ifs in 6 years if we keep extending it. So it's actually protection for everybody in that respect. The second one is the public road drainage maintenance bond. That one really is more of Daryl's call. And you heard Mark Bielek mention earlier about TDOT requiring a bond because they're doing work on Concord Road. In the 10, 11 years that Daryl has worked with the town, he has not ever had to require one of these. And what this is if there's existing infrastructure that they're going to go in and muck around with, it ensures that they don't damage it. Most of what we're seeing where we would normally require that is on a state right-of-way where TDOT requires it. So we're not double bonding. If TDOT is requiring it, then we're not requiring it. So we don't run into this one very often. The last section, Section 4, is dealing with the completion bonds, where if you don't make completions. And this one is set up that they can post a letter of credit for 1 year for completion. Our policy has been, and this is for public safety reasons, that the roads be in, your greenways be in, and those kind of things be in before you're having the public accessing your subdivisions, your developments. And the letter of credit for completion or escrow account for completion would be valid for 1 year. If at the end of 1 year, and the key term in that is that if the staff finds that the public interest will not be adversely affected by such extension, a 1 year extension may be granted. Now what is key about that is it is not a wise idea to extend the letter of credit for top coat, because if you have your binder exposed for an extended period of time without top coat, the moisture can get down and it can destroy your subgrade, which is very expensive to fix. But it is appropriate to say, okay, we still have construction going on, let's wait another year on the sidewalks. So the example would be, that in that particular case, then you wouldn't want to extend it for the top coat, but there would be no problem with extending it for the sidewalks. And if there may be other things that are minor. At the end of that 1-year period, the staff would cash the completion bond. Again, it's set up that the applicant could appeal that staff decision to you all as the Planning Commission, and you again would have the authority to extend it for 1 year. But at the end of that 1 year, which is a total of 3 years, the letter of credit, the escrow account, whatever, would be cashed, and the improvements would be completed. And again, our primary purpose is to protect the public so that the town does not end up having to make improvements at the town's expense that really should have been part of the development's expense. So this establishes the process more clearly. It's like it hasn't ever been an issue in the past because we really haven't had to cash a whole lot. But since we are running into that, this just kind of more clearly spells it out. So we are recommending approval of Resolution PC 1109. There is, the copy that is in your packet, on page 4, the second paragraph after it starts with the words, the conditions of each bond, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Took out the word second because it implied that it was staff's second approval, but in reality it's just, so we took out the word second. And then in there was a "the" taken out that Darrell caught when he was proofing this. So, but other than that, it's identical to what you have. So, but we are recommending approval of Resolution PC 1109.
Anybody have any questions about this?
I have a comment. I want to thank you for giving us that workshop because that helped a lot. I was very unclear on some of that. So thank you so much for that workshop in April. I think it was in April.
Anybody else? In that case, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution PC 11-09.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing on approved location of new utilities.
None at this time.
In that case, the June 16th, 2011 meeting of the Farragut Municipal Planning Commission is adjourned.
Go Gators.